Hi everyone, I've got a new opening for you, and no, it's not physical media related today, it's actually a graphic novel, a book. Today I'm going to take a look at this here new Still, a celebration of 30 years of the DC comic character. So yeah, let's get into it. Yeah, hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Yeah, so still, the Superman character, John Henry Irons. This is a character that was conceived in 1993, just after the death of Superman. He was one of the 4 characters that replaced Superman in his absence. And in my opinion, the best one of the 4. The one that has still been kicking around until today in and out of the comics. Obviously, he had a movie starring Shaquille O'Neal. Less said about that, the better. And more recently, the character has appeared in Superman and Lois, the CW TV show. Although not exactly looking like what he does here. So this is a character that has intrigued me since conception, a character that I've enjoyed, and a character that I wish that DC would have done more with. And thusly, it makes sense that I picked this book up. It's a hardback book, rather thick, and we're going to open it up as it is sealed, and we're going to take a look at the contents, what it's got in it, what comics it reproduces, etc. So yeah, let's literally get into it. Okay, so here we have the book, and you can see the cover art there. Lovely image on the front of the character of Steel with the DC logo and the Superman S there. Still, a celebration of 30 years with there an image from his first appearance. So there's the spine, as you can see. DC logo, you've got Steel there at the top, which is the face image on the front. And on the back, we have this image here. Now this image here was from one of his early appearances, nay, one of his first appearances. And as you can see on the back, in the aftermath of Superman's death, former steel worker and weapons designer John Henry Irons felt compelled to honour the fallen hero by doing his part to protect Metropolis. Pairing his blacksmith skills with his brilliant engineering mind, John Henry forged a superpowered suit of armour and emerged as a new contender for the mantle of the Man of Steel. Despite taking inspiration from Superman, Steel set himself apart from other Supermen by pairing his enhanced strength with amazing resourcefulness, preferring to solve problems with his mind instead of his sledgehammer. This earned him the respect of the hero he admired and the rest of the Justice League, who grew to value Steel as a reliable and trustworthy ally. Steel, a celebration of 30 years, covers 3 decades of John Henry Irons' adventures in the DC universe, featuring stories from some of the comic industry's greatest storytellers. This anniversary volume also includes retrospective essays from Steel creators Louise Simonson and John Bogdanove, as well as acclaimed scribe Christopher Priest. So, there we have it. Let's open it up and let's take a look at this book. Obviously, I don't want to cause any damage to the book itself. Let's get that blade out of the way. Get the cellophane off. Now, I did get this a few weeks ago. It was picked up from my local comic shop. I saw it online. I ordered it. They held it for me. So, obviously, we've got a dust jacket on it. So, let's take the dust jacket off. Take a look. So, there's the put the book aside. So, there's the dust jacket, the inside. And this is all the contents that this issue has. These are further readings. This here will be the contents within all these various issues. So let us take a look. So here's the hardback book. Again, a different image there. Nice and glossy front cover. There's the spine work. And the back is just white. So open it up, and interior we have a very nice image of John Henry Irons. Celebration of 30 years. Again, table of contents. The first Black Superman. Part 3, yeah. So part 1, the forging of a hero. Table of contents. All these here. Part 2, forging the future. With various stories. Part 3, the first Black Superman. And here we go. Here's part 1, 1993 to 1998, the forging of a hero. Yeah, and this is where we get into some of Steele's earliest appearances. This would be his first appearance, crawling out of the rubble after the Doomsday attack and busting out in Reign of Superman. So if we go forward, I won't show you every page obviously. There's that image that sports the back cover. Issue 1 of Steele, his own comic book, Reign of Tomorrow, which I do have somewhere, but in a box, God knows where now. Issue 34 there. I wouldn't have read it this far in, I would have stopped at some point. Because I was reading so much at the time. Superman still sporting his long hair. Obviously changed the design with the S a bit there on the character from how he first looked. Justice League 17. Catwoman there. Superman and Man of Steel, a new Fortress of Solitude revealed. Issue 100 of Man of Steel. Again, we see a different sort of suit for him. We see more of his face in that one. I do like the classic design of him though, what we first had. Call to Arms, Superman and Man of Steel. Superman versus Steel. Justice League Unlimited, which is based on the animated series, hence the cartoony look to it, to aesthetically coincide with the series. It looks a lot more like that. Reign of Doomsday. Doomsday there. The debut of Steel. Action Comics, the New 52. So, Suicide Squad, featuring Steel. Convergence, Superman, Man of Steel, issue 1. Superman, Man of Steel, issue 2. Continuation of that story. With Gen 13 characters. Gen 13 was a Wildstorm comic book. That there was a film, handmade film of this made. I do have it on bootleg, actually, of Gen 13. It never got a release because Gen 13 at the time went from being a Wildstorm, went from being an Image comic to passing over into DC. And in that time, the film had to be put into... well, never got a release, official release, I don't believe. May have done somewhere in the world, but certainly not in our sort of regions, and I don't believe America. I think it may have had a VHS release. Only the beginning. And there we have it. There we have a look through this celebration of 30 years of this character. Fantastic. That's a really nice book for the edition, for my edition of books that I have. There we go. Okay, so there we have it. There we have that look at Still, a celebration of 30 years. And what a fantastic looking book that is. A lot of stuff in there for me to read, to get through. A lot of it I haven't read. Some of it I certainly will have done because, you know, 30 years ago, and wow, I can't believe it's been 30 years, in 1993, I was there when the death of Superman occurred. I remember going to the comic shop, buying my multiple copies of the death of Superman. I remember the coming of after that, of Funeral for a Friend, and then the reign of the Superman, which is when Steel and the 3 other Supermen came to be. And that was included a new Superboy, Cyborg Superman, and the Eradicator version of Superman. Obviously, the Cyborg Superman ended up being the villain of the piece in that he was actually Metallo. But yeah, this character has endured 30 years, which is fantastic. So here's to another 30 years of the Man of Steel, the first Black Superman. This is the character to go with if you want to do a Superman of colour. Still.